Well, young man, I was born as a slave. And times were real hard. I was born back in the late 1700s in New York State. My mom and dad were slaves. And when I was born, they named me Isabella Bomfrey Hardenberg. You know why? Because my dad was a Bomfrey. And then we had to take the name of our masters. So that was my name. When I turned 3 years old, I remember they took my sisters and brothers from me, from my mama. And it was such a sad day. And before I got grown, they sold me 3 different times to 3 different masters. When I left upstate New York when I was about 9 years old, they took me to this place, and I had to work for Miss Sally. And Miss Sally did not like me. I can't tell you why, boy. She didn't like me, but she didn't like me. And they beat me every day. I was working, but they still beat me. Then, after many years, they sold me to another family. And I worked there, and I worked. They were worse. They treated me worse than animals. Then one day, I got traded again. They sold me to, I just turned 105. And to remember a lot of these things, I got to take my time. Oh, La Tourette. That's the family I went to. The La Tourettes. And for the first time in my life, I was treated like somebody. I learned to read. But the most important thing I learned was about God and about church. They took me to church, and I started praying because I knew after everything I heard in church that God loved me. And it was so good to have somebody that loved you. Well, not to make no long story, I started preaching. I became a preacher. And I preached for years and years and years. And then guess what? The emancipation came. That's when they freed all the slaves. And there were so many slaves that needed help. And I decided that's what I was going to do. I was going to help the African Americans. That's what y'all call them now. I was going to help the black people. I was going to help the women because they treated women like dirt. We had no rights whatsoever. And after being a slave for so many years, I knew what it was like to be treated bad and not have rights. So that was my mission, son. My mission was to make sure that we got equal rights. Just like the white folks had equal rights, I wanted us black people to have equal rights. And that's what I fought many, many years. But you know, when they had the emancipation, so many black people were set free, and there was no place for us to go. So, I wrote Congress, and I told them, you need to set aside some land so that we could build and have a place to settle. But guess what, son? Congress said no. They denied us. So, the next thing I had to do was to see how I was going to help those people get to places where they could settle. I heard about Frederick Douglass and some of the things he's been doing. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do some of those same things. So a group of us got together and we went on to Kansas. And there we found land. There we built. There black people had a place to settle. One of the first places that they settled. After I left Kansas, I went on down to Michigan. And in Michigan, we worked hard for equal rights. We worked hard for women's rights. Women couldn't vote. And when I got there in Michigan, we had a big meeting where we said, us women, we're going to fight for our right to vote. And that's what we did. The journey started. I decided I didn't want my master's name no more. I didn't want it. And through all of my traveling and all of my studying and the things I learned, I decided to change my name to Sojourner Truth. You know why, son? Sojourner means traveler. And I was traveling all over this country, telling the truth. Telling the truth about God and how much He loved us. Telling the truth about how all of us need to be treated the same. So, I became Sojourner Truth. And I worked all my life, boy. I worked all my life for a cause. And you know what I want to say to you? I want you to work hard, to study, and leave your name on this earth. It's been years since I came here. And you are still studying about me, aren't you? Well, guess what? One day, when you are 105 like I am, and a student will come and say to you, I'm studying about you in school. Tell me about Justice Thomas. Leave a mark, young man. You was placed here on this earth to leave a mark, to do something for mankind. Leave a mark.